Hey gang, so wrapping up this set of the 531 this series, so did some deadlifts, and because so many of you liked last week's vid where I did focused on the opening and closing for spiraling down, we're gonna do some more opening and closing. Yay! Um, Love the feedback, keep it coming, whether you like it or don't. But I would invite you to give me a dialogue. If you think some things work better, or if you think that you don't understand why I'm doing something, drop it in the chat. Let's talk about it. If you just think it's dumb, you can say that too. But I'm going to laugh at you because if you don't actually provide a reason for why you think that, then easy to dismiss you. Bye. Um, but I will say that this was an exciting one because not only do I feel like I basically did the workout you're about to see. I've kind of just thrown in some highlights, but starting with stretching the body, starting with connecting all the feet through to the hands, through the legs, trunk, and arms, right? Making sure the power is coming from low to the ground, but pulling in every available bit of bone muscle tissue that I can access in order to perform the movement. So, with that said, we're gonna keep it shorter and sweet this time. Take it away. One thing I do want to make sure I recommend is whatever you do, make sure you're doing something to move the whole body before you try and do a big compound lift. It's easy to think you're ready and maybe over massage or overstretch, but I think the best thing you can do is big whole body movements. I like to make sure I'm doing the ones that pack my body with breath to elastically stretch the connections and then use that to power my movement. So just starting with some simple opening the frame, closing the frame. I like to let the body kind of hang on its structures, particularly in the opening. And when you close, let it sort of collapse and absorb the feel of the body weight and the upper body, particularly collapsing into the frame. As you then practice this, start to breathe in and pack the elastic connections and hold them for a moment. And then when you exhale, what do you feel that elastic release almost pulling the arm back in closing motion? That's one of the beginning ways you can start to train those sensations we think of as chi. So then reversing that and starting by packing the breath on the closing motion, and then as you exhale and release that, let that power the opening of the body, and then still all those other things of hanging in space working together. And I think that's important because that gives you a sense of breathing and how that breathing starts to inflate the body and how you can use that elastic stretch of the skin and tissue in coordination with your frame, which is the bone and muscle portion. And they all work together and they all are needed to deliver power or leverage or produce force is the other thing. And so now this is a very micro version of that stretch. And now I'm going to practice a deadlift form with that same sensibility. Get the stretch and pack the breath with elastic energy and then release it as you initiate the pull, still preserving the right track of the frame so that you've got all the things supported, and then pause and just feel how those stretches in the frame work together with the most subtle of movements, and then go back to some of the big exercises as you want to get back into your deadlift form and feel like, okay, how does that subtle sensibility translate back into the big gross movements that I'm going to be doing when I need to pick up weight at load. All of these things should fundamentally work the same way, but it's easier to say it than it is to actually demonstrate it and put it into practice, being both soft and powerful at the same time versus bringing that soft and power sensibility back into your work. So this is the initial pull, which I think was the first working sets were 315. So 315 pounds, and I did a double overhand grip. Then when I got up to 355, switched to the mixed grip. This one actually felt really solid. I was just kind of like, all right, I'm just going to blast out the three. All same sensibilities. This is the first time I've done reps at 405. So I felt really strong doing them. I know the bar path wasn't as great as it could be, but I was really just trying to make sure I stayed in solid integrity and solid strength performance all the way through. So that's it. So like I said, keeping it short and sweet this week. Next week will be deload, so we're going to spend some more time playing with the new kettlebells I got. I got myself a set of 40 kilogram kettlebells because I want to work my way up to a 100-pound single arm snatch. So we'll use already doing pretty comfortably at the 32, which is 70 pounds. So want to work my way up, and then we'll see where we go from there. So deload next week, we'll be playing more with kettlebells and still talking about similar movements, opening, closing the body, using breath pressure for the elastic stretch, along with making sure you're building the bones and muscles of the frame, how they all work together.